Hello MotoGP fans. Welcome back to ZNGP Today. Yamaha's decision to bring Toprak Razgatlioglu into MotoGP with Pramac has been called a circle closing by Yamaha boss Paolo Pavesio. At the team presentation, the message was equal parts realism and opportunity. 2026 equals learning, 2027 equals the big shot. We want to explain why Yamaha sees Toprak as a strategic and symbolic signing. Fabio Quartararo arrived at Yamaha's 2026 launch with the kind of blunt, short-term ultimatum that headlines love. His future with the factory now depends on the V4. At the Jakarta event, he promised total commitment, and the team needs results. Marco Bezzecchi has delivered a clear, no-nonsense verdict on the 2026 MotoGP title picture. Speaking during the Dainese Snow Demons event in Livigno, the Aprilia rider reflected on a demanding season of adaptation with the RSGP, his expanded role inside the Noale project, and the reality of fighting at the sharp end of MotoGP. His conclusion is blunt: Marc Márquez starts 2026 as the man to beat. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. Toprak arrives in MotoGP older than many rookies, but with a pile of World SBK experience and race-hardened resilience. Yamaha and Pramac aren't promising miracles in year one. The goal is controlled adaptation. Get the fundamentals right, collect data, learn circuits and tires, and preserve Toprak's confidence while the V4 project matures. That measured approach reduces pressure and gives him the runway to convert superbike speed into MotoGP pace without getting burned out by unrealistic expectations. Arriving in MotoGP at his age, and with his sporting maturity, will allow him to handle the pressure. Quote from Paolo Pavesio. In short, maturity plus experience equals fewer rookie mistakes, better long-term upside. Everyone at Yamaha sees 2026 as groundwork for the regulation shake-up and tire switch in 2027. For Toprak, that's ideal, a season to learn the V4's character, build rapport with engineers, and gain experience on the tracks he doesn't know yet. Yamaha's messaging is explicit: don't expect immediate title fights, expect methodical progress aimed at unlocking genuine championship potential when the rules change. I think he understands the complexity of the challenge, just like he's aware of the realistic goals for 2026, which are geared towards building 2027. That's the strategic roadmap: short-term patience for long-term payoff. Pavesio framed Toprak's arrival as more than a rider switch. It's a symbolic, circle closed, moment for Yamaha and for the boss himself. The move ties past superbike collaborations to Yamaha's MotoGP future, and gives Pavesio an early tangible success as team leadership changes hands. If Toprak flourishes, Pavesio's judgment on talent and timing will be vindicated, and Yamaha keeps a big narrative win while building technical momentum around the V4 program. Personally, I'm happy to have made it happen with Yamaha, because I think there was a circle to close. Technically, the timing aligns. Toprak's tire experience in World SBK, Pirelli, plus Yamaha's switch to a V4 engine and upcoming regulation changes could be a rare confluence. Toprak's riding style and familiarity with Pirelli compounds are assets Yamaha explicitly highlighted, not because they promise instant wins, but because they reduce the unknowns in a critical development phase. If Yamaha can translate that experience into workable bike setups, Toprak could become a key accelerator in Yamaha's climb back up the grid. I think it was the right thing to do. Short, decisive, and revealing, Yamaha believes the pieces fit. Now it's execution time. Paolo Pavesio's message was pragmatic and quietly ambitious. Toprak's signing is strategic, technical fit plus tire knowledge, symbolic, closing a circle, and tactical. 2026 as a learning year for 2027. Expect Yamaha and Pramac to prioritize measured progress, plenty of shakedown data in sepping, and a steady build toward the rule changes when the real prize may be within reach. The subtext at Yamaha's launch was unmistakable. Quartararo's contract and his faith in the project are tied to performance. He's a former world champion used to being at the sharp end of the grid, and he knows patience with an underperforming package can cost careers. That's why his message is so simple and uncompromising. No slow build, no hiding behind development timelines. He's putting his reputation on the table and telling the paddock he'll extract every ounce of performance immediately. This a new project. We know that we start just last year, so of course it will be a long process. But I will push to the limit from day one and try to achieve the best result and to enjoy. The shift from inline-4 to V4 is seismic. New weight distribution, twin exhausts, different torque curve, and a fresh aero/chassis relationship. For riders, this is a reset, not an update. Quartararo acknowledged that the V4 changes how he must ride and set up the bike, which means work not only for engineers but for the rider-crew relationship. A quick adaptation from Quartararo would accelerate Yamaha's learning curve. A slow one could leave them chasing the early rounds. The project is brand new, so there's margin to improve everywhere. Yamaha's D-rank concessions give them extra winter reps, and Sepping is now the high-stakes laboratory. Quartararo and Alex Rins will have multiple test days to validate aero, engine maps and electronics. Data gathered there will define the opening races. The Frenchman made clear that the next 2 weeks of testing will set the tone. If the V4 shows clear gains, the narrative changes. If not, Yamaha faces pressure on multiple fronts: rider confidence, sponsor patience, and Quartararo's next decisions. In 2 weeks, we'll have 5 days of testing at Sepping. It'll be really important to find our direction for the season and hopefully to be faster than last year. Quartararo's tone is personal because the consequences are personal. His future at Yamaha is linked to the bike's trajectory. But the stakes go beyond one rider. Yamaha's brand project, the V4 transition and Pavesio's leadership are all under scrutiny. Quartararo knows this. That's why he frames his push as both a duty and a test of enjoyment. If the results come, Yamaha stabilizes its future. If they don't, the winter's optimism risks turning into a fraught transfer market and difficult decisions. That's what Alex, Rins, and I expect. To have some improvements everywhere. On the turning, on the engine power, that is the most important thing. Fabio Quartararo has framed 2026 as a test of both a machine and a relationship. Yamaha's V4 is a technical gamble that needs rapid payoffs. Quartararo has promised to be the accelerator. Sepping will deliver the first verdicts, and the tone set there may determine whether this partnership is the start of a renaissance or the beginning of a tricky contractual crossroads. Bezzecchi's first year deeply embedded in the Aprilia project was less about instant results and more about synchronization. From his point of view, rider development and bike development were inseparable processes. The RSGP demanded adaptation, while Bezzecchi himself was evolving as a reference rider, shaping the bike while reshaping his own approach. That dual progression, race by race, laid the groundwork for a more stable and confident second half of the season. They are two things that go hand in hand, because the bike was new and I knew I had to adapt, while we worked to improve it race by race. Having ridden Ducati machinery before, Bezzecchi is often asked to compare it directly with the Aprilia RSGP. His response is deliberately grounded. Rather than ranking bikes, he focuses on compatibility, how a machine responds to his inputs, and how much influence he can have over its direction. For Bezzecchi, the value of the RSGP lies in its completeness and its growing alignment with his riding style, not in superficial comparisons. They are very different bikes. It's practically impossible to compare them. When the conversation turns to the World Championship, Bezzecchi resists temptation. There's no bold prediction, no self-declared challenge, just a sober assessment of reality. Marc Márquez's recent dominance, in Bezzecchi's eyes, makes him the clear reference for everyone else. For Aprilia, the goal is continuity, carry momentum forward and see where it leads. Marc will be the overwhelming favorite because of how he won the title. Bezzecchi's mindset in wheel-to-wheel combat reflects his maturity. Rather than fixating on a single rival, he views MotoGP as an environment where every rider poses a threat, and every duel is a lesson. This learning-first approach reinforces his steady upward trajectory, and explains why Aprilia values his feedback so highly. In MotoGP, all rivals are tough. There isn't just one who gives you sleepless nights. Jorge Martin's injuries reshaped Aprilia's internal dynamics in 2025, and Bezzecchi felt the weight of that shift directly. With fewer data points coming from the other side of the garage, development responsibility leaned heavily on his shoulders. It was a demanding situation, but one that accelerated his growth as a leader inside the team. The workload fell more on me. Looking back, Bezzecchi doesn't romanticize the struggle. The season had clear negatives, but also lasting benefits. Being deeply involved in development sharpened his technical understanding and reinforced his role as a cornerstone of Aprilia's future. For Bezzecchi, the experience was costly, but invaluable. It has been both negative and positive, but I have learned a great deal. Marco Bezzecchi enters the new season grounded, realistic, and increasingly influential within Aprilia. He sees Marc Márquez as the clear favorite, but also believes continuity, learning, and responsibility can close gaps over time. For Bezzecchi and Aprilia, the mission isn't hype, it's steady, intelligent progress, one race at a time. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!